Hey, Metal Jeff here. I'm just getting back into the Mutation build. I left off last time just basically with the frame done, and in order to hold down the aluminum that I'm going to be milling today, I had to actually make some clamps. Something I planned to do and I knew I'd run into eventually. Basically, these little washers aren't wide enough to hold the piece of 6061 aluminum. I have already made the clamps. They're like 4 inches by 1.5, and these will ensure that no matter what I have on the wasteboard here, I'll be able to clamp it down. Starting today, I'm going to be doing all the fan mounts, the floor of the case. There's one little panel where the reservoir will mount to. I think I'm going to do the motherboard tray again, and also I need to figure out a way to mount the video card. Hopefully I'll get that done too. So normally I would cut these all out at the same time as I pocket all the holes, just basically add an operation onto the end and change the tool out. I wasn't sure what kind of hardware I was going to use, so I decided to just leave the holes as they are to fit the certain type of thread, and then I was going to come back and add the countersink holes. So after a couple tries, I was able to get the front and back fan mount milled out really well, and the countersink holes look great with the screws. Everything's flat and flush. So to start off on this motherboard tray, I'm gonna mill out the profile for the CPU access for changing out a water block or something. That's going to be a 1/4 inch end mill, and then I'm going to move on to an 1/8 inch end mill and do these mounting holes that go around the outside. Those are M5 holes, and then these are M4 tap holes for the motherboard standoffs. So those will all be 1/8 inch end mill, and then after that I'll change to the 1/4 inch chamfer end mill and go around the outside again. These are just the holes that'll mount this motherboard plate onto the case. Okay, so as you can see here, I've finished doing all the countersink holes and all that, and I tapped these M4 holes and installed some standoffs in them. So it's kind of the moment of truth right now when I hold up my old broken P6T Deluxe motherboard. Let's see if the holes line up. It looks like the CNC did them pretty much dead on. Pretty impressed with this Shipoko as far as accuracy goes, because I just grabbed a ATX layout from the Google SketchUp 3D warehouse. I took that and basically exported a face from Google SketchUp into a SVG file. Didn't alter the size or anything, and brought that straight into MakerCam. So now that I know those are on, I can continue to modify this panel as I need to. And then the new motherboard tray design changed up how the drop-in action is gonna be achieved, and I ended up milling a couple wheel mounts. So they're basically, one has 3 wheels on it, the other has 1, and there's 2 pieces of T-slot extrusion on the back of the motherboard tray, and they basically both line up into the wheels and drop down. Got most of the panels cut. You can kind of see where I'm going with it. It's going to be flat on this plate here, and I might take more off of this. GPU will sit flat on that, and I haven't quite decided how I'm going to mount it yet. The piece on the side is going to be the reservoir mount, and I unfortunately missed the holes on it by about 3 millimeters, 3-4 millimeters, and I just don't have a piece big enough to remake it. So that's kind of just a placeholder for now. Another thing that caused me to waste a piece of metal was Google SketchUp's default circle segments, and that's 24. So you can see in this piece here, you can clearly see the segments in each circle. So went for some new ones and changed the segments to 100. Came out with a nice clean circle. Big thanks goes out to Primachill for sending out some water cooling parts for the build. So I'll be using their new Revolver SX fittings, and I went with the silver UV blue model. This is their 306mm tube. As you can see, it's too tall, but it's going to go right through the floor right there. So I'll have the pump living in the floor there with one of their clear pump tops. And then also, Again, I'd like to thank Fractal Design for sending out the fans. They sent out 3 of their 140 millimeter static pressure fans. Those are PWM controlled, and then 4 of their 120 millimeter high airflow fans. So that's all I got for now. Still got lots to do on this case. Lots more metal work to do, lots of cable sleeving, and lots of water cooling. I could go so many different directions, there's so much to do, but I'll be sure to have another build log out soon. Cheers.